YouTube? Today on the Naughty Librarian, I am doing a book unhaul. I have a lot of books, and not all the books I have I like, or I am ever going to read, so I just need to part ways with them. So let's do some spring cleaning and get rid of some books. Okay, so, just because I don't want my hair in my face no more. Alright, let's get rid of some books. First up, I am getting rid of most of the Beautiful Creatures series by Kemi Garcia and Margaret Stoll. I have Beautiful Darkness, Beautiful Chaos, and Beautiful Redemption. They're all going. I'm never going to read them. I'm keeping Beautiful Creatures just because it wasn't so bad. So I have one of the series. But I read Beautiful Darkness and it's friggin' awful. I hated it so much. So I'm like, I'm never going to read the last two books. I'm just never going to do it. I don't care. So they are going out of my life. Speaking of series I need to get rid of, I am getting rid of Destined, Tempted, and Hunted, all part of the Marked series by Piercy Cast and Kirsten Cast. I kept the first 3 books of the series because I had those as well, but I'm like, I don't need 6 books of this series that I have not read and I'm not planning to like probably, so I'm gonna cut my losses here. Like realistically, I'm never gonna read these, so these are these will be going to new homes if I can keep them in my hands long enough. Next up, I have If I Stay by Gail Forman. I know it's probably good. I know people like it. It just doesn't seem like a book I am gonna like, and I have like no desire to really pick it up. So it is just, it's gonna go. It's gonna go and be with someone who does want to read it. Next up, I have Beta by Rachel Kahn, and I finally looked it up to see what it like reviews, like, is this good? And apparently there's like a whole rape side plot in this, so I'm like, no, never gonna read it. This needs to leave my life. Next up, I have The Dark Angel by Meredith Ann Pierce. And boy, does this look terrible. I don't know why I own it. It just looks really bad. I guess it's about a girl who gets like kidnapped by a vampire who has wings for some reason. Next up, I have Mercenaries by Angela Knight. I'm never gonna read this. Like, I just not. It is a smutty romance, and I guess it's about this girl who's gonna get auctioned off as a bride, but instead she's like, oh, I could do this and like go off with these mercenary group. And I think she lets all of the dudes in the mercenary group like bang her. So I mean, good for her, but like I have zero interest in this. Next up, I have The Siren by Tiffany Wrights. And okay, here's the thing. I have read a different book by Tiffany Wrights, and her erotica is a bit much for me. It's very extreme. And this one is probably going to be just as extreme as the other one I read. And honestly, the other one I read like was kind of gross for me. So I'm just never going to read this because I feel like it's not my cup of tea. Next up, I have Wicked Memories by Nina Bangs. By the way, Nina Bangs, excellent romance author name. It looks kind of bad, and like the heroine's name is Sparkle Stardust, and I'm like, nope, never gonna read this. I'm also getting rid of Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. I know a lot of people love this book, but like I have no intention of reading it. It just, like I look at it and I'm just like, I am too much of an adult to like this, I feel. Next up is Evermore by Alison Noel. And I don't know why I bought this. It looks awful. I'm sorry, like cover looks so bad. I know, don't judge a book by its cover, but like sometimes you need to judge a book by its cover because this one's bad. Next, I have Vampire Kisses by Ellen Schreiber. And I don't even think this is allegedly good. It's just like gothy girl delight, and I can't, it looks bad. Like I'm not gonna ever read this. It's too angsty for an adult, I feel. Like, if I was 16 again, like, oh, I would read this. But, like, I'm not 16 anymore, so I'm not going to read it. Next up, I have Nobody by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Like, her Natural series is, like, everything. I love it. I have read this one, and I just kept it because I like Jennifer Lynn Barnes. But realistically, I did not like this book that much. Next up, I have Just for Now by Abby Glines. This is a YA contemporary romance, and it looks stupid. I don't know. It's not something I ever really want to read. I think I bought it because I thought it was a grown-up romance, but like it's not, so I'm like, Next up I have Protected by Claire Zorn, and I just have no interest in it. It's looks like just like a sad story. It's about a girl who's kind of get picked on, and the only person who defended her was her sister, and then like her sister dies, and I'm like, I don't want to sob over this. Like, I'll sob over stories, but I don't want to sob over this one. Like, I'm just not interested. Next up, I have Uninvited by Amanda Marone. And whew, this looks also very bad. I went through a phase of buying like emo gothy books apparently, because I have so many of them, and I'm like, why on earth would I do this to myself? Next up, I have After the Red Rain by Barry Liga, Peter Facinelli, and Robert DeFranco. So many people wrote this book. It doesn't seem appealing to me. It's post-apocalyptic. There's some red rain that like kills people, and everyone lives in these mega cities, and probably the government's bad. Like, it's just like a story I've seen enough that I'm like, I don't care. Next up, I have Blood Magic by Tessa Gratton. Again, my gothic emo book phase, apparently. I just have so many of these. It's about a girl who does magic with blood. Sounds kind of like, I can see why it would have appealed to me, but like, I'm not gonna read emo gothy books for teens. Like, maybe an emo gothy book for an adult, maybe, but like, I can't do it for teens. Like, I'm too old for this. Next up, I have The Darkest Pleasure by Gina Showalter. I'm not getting rid of this because I don't like it. In fact, I freaking love this book and I love this series. I just happen to have 2 copies, so one of them is going out into the world. But someone will be very lucky to get this book. Next up, I have The Good Luck of Right Now by Matthew Quick. I just got it because he also wrote the Silver Linings Playbook, so I thought maybe it would be interesting. But I'm never going to read it. I'm just not. It's a former library book too. I got a library book sale. I'm just never gonna read it. I'm not. I've come to terms with it. Next up, I got my Wolf Tales. Woo! Really, I think I bought them just so I could make the DuckTales joke, and like, I've made it. I've made the joke. I can move on with my life. They're just like random smutty wolf stories, but like, I read a lot of smutty wolf stories that I don't need these laying around. Next up, I have Heart on Fire by Amanda Bouchette and Run to Ground by Katie Ruggles. Not getting rid of these because I didn't like them or anything. It's just I have multiple copies, so these are going out into the world. Next up, I have Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger. I liked this book. I liked it just fine. It's just not a book that like I'm gonna continue with the series on. It's not a book that stuck with me. It was like an average book for me. This is my sex predator part of the video. So I have 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. This is leaving because Jay Asher is apparently a sex predator and I don't want to read his books. Also, I have The Kill Order and Eye of Mines by James Dashner. Again, he is also a sex predator. Don't want to read his books. It sucks because I met James Dashner right before the news came out that he was a sex predator, so both of these are autographed, but I mean, I'm not dealing with sex predators, so these are going. Next up, I have The Mammoth Book of Paranormal Romance, and it's by a whole boatload of people. I think I just got it because there was a little short story by Sherilyn Kenyon in this, but it wasn't like a story that was good. And also, it's like misprinted in parts because like it went to the edge of the page and like words are missing. Like they misprinted it. So yeah, I can't even physically read it because it's misprinted. So it's leaving. Next up is Girl in the Blue Coat by Monica Hess. I think it's taking place during like Poland in World War II. No, it's in Amsterdam in World War II, and it's about like Nazis and stuff. And it's just like, oh, that's gonna be sad. Like, I don't want to do it to myself, so I'm gonna donate it. This is another arc I'm gonna get rid of, and it's called Please Don't Tell by Laura Timms. And it's essentially just not something I'm super into. It has like this whole like rape plot, and I don't want to read rape stories, so it's just gonna go. Next up, I have Midnight Frost by Jennifer Estep. The series doesn't sound bad necessarily. I think it's like Greek myths in a high school, which I'm down with. That's fine. I like Percy Jackson. Like, I could get behind it. But I think this is like the 4th book of the series, and I don't have any of the other books. So like, I'm never gonna read this one, so it's gonna go. Next up I have The Eternal Ones by Kirsten Miller. It seems kind of bad, honestly. It's like about reincarnation romance. I don't know. It just doesn't look very good. I don't have like the time or patience to like really invest in it, so it's just gonna go. Next up I have A Kiss of Shadows by Laurel K. Hamilton. I got this just because it's Laurel Hamilton, and I actually have not read any of her books, which is crazy because she's like Laurel Hamilton. Like everyone's read her books, but except for me. So I'm like, oh, I'll just get this one and like read it. And I'm never gonna read it because I don't want to start a series in like some random book of it. Like I need to start from the beginning, so it's going. Next up I have The Returned by Seth Patrick. And I got this because I thought it was the book that the TV show is based on, but it's the opposite. This is a book based on the TV show. So I was like, what? Next up, I have Atelier Monkey by Nick Laird. I always say it that way because it takes place in Ireland, and that's not even an Irish accent. That's just how it comes out of my mouth. I don't know, it seemed like a weird like Irish comedy, and I was like, oh, I'll try it out, sounds fun. I'm like, I'm never gonna read it. I'm just not. So I'd rather like give it to someone else who will read it and enjoy it. Next up, I got Little Brother by Cory Doctorow. And I'm not getting rid of it because I don't like it. I just ended up with 2 copies accidentally, so this one is going to go off into the world and let someone else enjoy it as well. Next up, I have The First Book of Grimm by Shiloh Walker. Ooh, this is indie AF. This is such an indie book. I don't know, it's a paranormal romance, and I want to support indie authors. It's just, I'm never going to read it. I'm just not going to do it, so I'd rather just like have space on my shelves for things I'm going to love. Next up, I have Naughty Boy by Laura Lee. So, by the way, it's naughty, N-A-U-T-I, because it's boats, like nautical. I know, there's puns on the cover. This one is about a girl like banging these 3 cousins. Oh, no, they're her cousins like through marriage, but like they're still her cousins. It's too much. Nope, not doing it. Next up, I have Bared to You by Sylvia Day. So I read this and I liked it. I wasn't in love with it. It's not a book I'm going to continue on with the series for. It was just kind of like, it's kind of like a book I like to make jokes about a little bit. So that's not a reason to keep it. So it's going to go. Next up, I have Roseblood by A.G. Howard. And I got this book because I won it at Y'all West. A.G. Howard wrote, it's like Alice in Wonderland, like Splintered, I think it was called. And I tried to read that and it was god-awful. Like, I really disliked it. So I'm like, I have no interest in reading anything else by that author, so it's going. It's brand new though, so if you happen to find it, it's all yours. Oh, wait! The writing's in red! That's kind of cool. No. It's going. I don't want to talk myself into keeping it. Next up, I have Shadow Fever by Karen Marie Moaning. I'm not getting rid of this because I don't like it. I'm getting rid of it because I ended up with 2 copies. So this one will go to the world. It's a good copy too. Ooh, it's like new. I just cracked the binding. So yes, I'm keeping this. I just have 2 copies. It's good though. This is a book I missed in my sex predator section because apparently Richard Paul Evans is also in the sex predator club, so not keeping this one. Then I have The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I got this because I know it's a movie, and I was like, oh, you know what? I should read like literature rather than like, you know, teens in peril and grown adults banging each other, which is mainly what I read. But then I was just like, you know what? I don't read these kind of things because I don't like them. Like I tried reading Gone Girl once and it infuriated me. Like I could not stand those characters. And I feel like this is going to be the same idea where I can't stand anybody. So I'm just going to give it up. I'm going to give it to the world and just like move on with my life. Next up, I have The Star-Touched Queen by Roshani Chowsky. And I won this book as well from Goodreads. I read it. And I wanted to love it, but like I didn't. Like I gave it like 2 out of 5 stars. It just wasn't the book for me. I wasn't into it. I really wanted to be because it's based off of like Indian mythology and I don't really know a lot about that. So I was like super excited to read it. And it just let me down. It wasn't like it's not my favorite thing. So I'll give it to the world and let someone else find it and really enjoy it. Last up, I have The Age of Miracles by Karen Thompson Walker. I read this and I liked it. It just wasn't like the best book. Like, it's not something I'm ever gonna read again. I don't like think about it from time to time. It was just like an average book. So I'm just gonna like give it away and let someone else find it and enjoy it more than I did. Woo! That's exhausting. Yeah. Woo! To be honest, like, I'm a little drunky pants now because I've been drinking throughout this whole video because I'm just tired. I've been just cleaning my house all day. I'm just like, wine o'clock, ladies. I'm like ashamed of myself for saying that. But it's drunk Amanda time, so I'm living my life. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below of something. I don't really know what I want to know about. So just like, say hey, say hello. I want to meet some people. Just tell me hi and like, what are you currently reading? That's what I want to hear in the comments. Say hello and what you're currently reading. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye!